All right, welcome back. Happy Monday. I was just talking for 5 minutes with the mic muted, and now we're back again. I won't be showing that footage because it'd be pointless. Anyway, I'm gonna jump back into it. I'm gonna talk about moving your goals and your passions and your hobbies and the things you love to do into part-time work, and hopefully can move that to some full-time work. Full disclaimer: I'm no expert. I am no expert. I will be speaking only from experience, the things I've gone through, and what I see people challenged with every single day. So that's the upfront. These steps by no means are going to be 100% foolproof, nor should anybody purport that any of their steps are 100% foolproof. So, I just had a cardio session, so I'm trying to get the coffee in me post lunch. So when I started this business out, I was doing portfolio. I was doing not portfolio. I was doing profile pictures on Twitter of people's OCs and guardians, as profile pictures, which snowballed into doing more and more work in the content creation community. This is your number one step. Produce things that people need or want. That will be the number one tip for this video. I even spoken about it very shortly in a comic. If you're producing things that have no use to people, or people aren't interested in, they have no reason to give you their money. Seems very rudimentary, right? Like, oh, that seems kind of, silly to make things that nobody wants to buy. But there is both a good thing and a bad thing about producing things only for people to buy, and vice versa. There should be a good balance. One should be for artistic expression and to get ideas out and to experiment. Number two, you just kind of want to produce things that people need and want. If you build yourself as a necessity, if you build things that that are essential to people's social media, their businesses, their endeavors. As a designer, I'm speaking only from a designer experience, or from a social media experience. These guys are social media managers. If you can do those things well, you've produced those assets, on par with industry standards, or hopefully above industry standards. That is how you can move into doing this part time. Now, I started off doing this. I was working full time at a bar 5 days a week, 4 to 5 days a week. I was making $500 to $700 a week at the bar as a bartender, which was not bad money. It's like what, $2,000 to $2,800, a month, something like that. Depending on how, sometimes it'd be better, sometimes it'd be worse, sometimes it'd be a lot worse, but that's on average. And the only way I can move into doing, so let's break it down, about $100, $120 a day. And this is 6-7 years ago, or 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. The only way that it would be, viable for me to moving down from 5 days to 4 days, or from 5 days to 3 days, is I have to make that money or equivalent in those days. Which I was not doing. I was making logos for $50. I was doing profile pictures for $25. I was making emotes for $5 or $10 or $7 or whatever I was making them for. It gained traction, right? I was making, $100, after work, working 7 or 8 hours at night. So it was like 7-8 hours, $100, which, to me was like, man, I am making some nice grocery money, some nice beer money. Now I could charge that less because I had a full-time job. I wasn't really worried about trying to pad it out. But me charging that rate, so this is the one thing about charging rates that low, is I gained a shit ton of experience very fast doing a multitude of different things. Now that teamed with my hunger to be better at design and art and illustration, etc., help fuel the growth of my skill. So it's a self-feeding machine. if I pay you $30 to make this thing and you make it really well, I'll give you $30, right? And you have that happen over and over and over again. Like, this isn't really, I'm making it too well now. You have to raise those rates to help elevate the skill level you have towards the industry standard. And the industry standard is still very low amongst the general population of designers. And that's something that may be addressed in a later video. But if you can supplant those days or 1 or 2 days with a reasonable amount of work, I'm not saying if you're working an 8-hour day at your job and you have to work a 12-hour day at home, you can't really, you're not making as much money. That's not viable. All right, unfortunately, that's not viable. The goal is to make what you would make in that day in half the time. If you can get to that point, then swap that day out, because sometimes people have work and sometimes you might not have work. But if you can do that amount of work, say you work 8 hours to make $100, if you can make $100 in 3 hours or 4 hours at home doing your design work, then it's time to start cutting those days off and taking your design work and what you do more seriously. I spoke about this before. I spoke about this many a time. Once you build in your clientele, you want to have a professional look to what you offer. And that comes in the form of a website and not a portfolio site. Portfolio sites are all well and good. Your art stations, your DeviantArts, your Behances, your Dribbles, blah, 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 blah. The good thing about having a website, you can have those things link off to a DeviantArt or whatever. The good thing about having a website, not a .wix site, not a blah, 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 fill in the blank. It should be like mynamedesign.com. What that says to the world is I'm here as officially as a business, as an entity that can be taken seriously, because I'm paying money into this site. I take what I do very seriously. Once you take the appearance of what you do very seriously, other people start taking you seriously. And that involves a little bit of capital. And when I mean a little bit, I mean very little. Anybody can build a website. I built a website. You can build a website. I'm almost 40. You guys are probably younger or older, but it's whatever. You can do it. So you can buy a domain, $20 a year. I don't want to hear I got the money. If you're making an emote for $15, 2 emotes you just made it, you just had your website for a year. You have to put a little bit of money back. Well, not a little bit. This is my second part of this video. You have to put money back into the business if you want to take it seriously. Now, you can do this part-time and not put any money back in. You can get a base tablet and get base design programs, and you can run that as long as you want to as a designer and keep it a part-time. But if you want to grow the business, you have to reinvest what you make. And when I say reinvest what you make, I mean in the beginning, instead of blowing that money on non-essentials, think about that money as an investment in your future. For example, I started out with a $400 laptop that is somewhere around here. I need to get it mounted. I want to get it mounted actually. A $400 refurbished like iMac Pro. Not iMac, I'm sorry. A MacBook Pro from Amazon. It's refurb. And I used that until the very last, like the wheels fell off. I bought myself a Creative Cloud for Adobe. I got myself a very cheap tablet, and I used that as long as I possibly could. I took all the money from that and bought a brand new iMac. And once I got the brand new iMac, I bought myself a little screen tablet with a screen like 10 inches, little Artisol. It was like $100 or a little bit less. And I used that little 10-inch screen tablet as far as I could till I had to move on to something bigger. Took the money from that, invested and got an Artisol D16, which is like $250. Eventually, I moved up to a tablet that's like $1,000. Now, eventually moved up from that Mac. The old Mac that I bought is I got Macs all over the place. The old Mac is slower now because I'm doing motion design. I'm doing After Effects. I took the money I made on that and I reinvested into this. So all in all, what started off as the part-time income, I reinvested in myself in a website. Website came first. There wasn't much on there, but my name was up there. And it gave you my rates. It gave you a bit of the portfolio work I did. It gave you a hub to branch off and find out where you could find me at. And some people say, "Well, I got a link tree." I'm like, a link tree is It's not as professional, or nor will it be as professional as a website, because you didn't put any money into it. It's free. And no matter how much you doctor it up, no one's going to take it as serious as a website, unfortunately. So when you present yourself, put a little thought into it. Put a little thought into what you want to offer the world and who you are as a business. We'll get into more of that and this stuff in the next video, but this is a good jumping off point. If you want to move into your job and taking your passion to a part-time form of income, start taking it seriously if you want it to grow. If you don't take it as seriously, you don't have to. You can do what you want here and there. That's fine. There's no reason you can watch this. You should watch this series and not be able to go either way, taking it seriously or not seriously. But these are the steps on how I grew my business, how I moved from, X number of dollars working at the bar, which was roughly $2,500 a month. Do the math, to like breaking six figures, a couple years in a row. All that came with reinvestment of not only my resources, but my time and design, and offering what people wanted more than what I thought they would want. Because you need to make things that people want if you want to get hired for it. It's very rudimentary. It needs to be said out loud. But when somebody comes to you with a problem, it is your job to solve it. Solve it the best you can. Some people have really bad design choices. You have to solve it, within those constraints, and then advise your clients whether or not this is going to work or not. And sometimes you have to be really real and raw with them, which we'll get into. I think we got into another video back whenever. I make a lot of videos now, apparently. Call me the YouTube guy, I guess. But I'm going to leave it there for now. If you guys have any questions that want to be answered directly in this series, please, by all means, comment your comments in the comments. I'm on every Monday. There's a button for subscriptions. I guess there's some bells you click or something. I don't know. I make stuff. Anyway, that's the long and short of it. This week is the last week before next week. Next Sunday, we're starting our 4-year anniversary on Twitch. I'll be giving away stuff. Probably another tablet. I don't know. But I probably won't be doing much design. I won't be doing much design work for clients that week. I'm going to be busting my ass this week to get as much work done as possible for moving to next week. With that being said, use code CONQUER. There we go. Use code CONQUER at kingscoast.com to get your 10% off your coffee. Highland Reserve is my go-to blends. Sumatra. Always goes down smooth. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys enjoyed this series. Hope this series helps anyone. And seriously, if you have any questions, please drop them down in the comments so I can read through them and perhaps answer you directly, unless the question is really stupid or I've already answered it already. I'm kidding. None of your questions are stupid. If you guys don't know a question, that's not stupid. All right. I don't know lots of things, but I'll leave it at that. You guys have a great week. Keep fighting a good fight. I'll catch you live on Twitch in about 15 minutes. Because it's almost that time. But you guys have a great one. And see you next Monday. It's my anniversary week, but I still make the video. Later, guys.